Morning everyone. Today we are continuing with manufacturing or cost accounting. Our main focus is on production cost statement. From the last week we were preparing note 1, note 2 and note 3. Since we had a long break, some of us have forgotten, but let me remind you. Note 1, it was direct material cost. Note 2, it was direct labor cost. And note 3, it was factory overhead cost. From what I have noticed, direct labor cost is still a challenge for us. You must be reminded that direct labor cost is equal to gross wages plus total contribution plus any allowance. Even as you calculate indirect labor, the formula for labor remains gross salary or wages plus total contributions plus any allowance. Now, our focus for today is the financial statement of a manufacturing business, the production cost statement. But we want to start by revising last year formulas. In grade 10, mainly it was calculation of manufacturing cost. The first one was prime cost, which we calculate by saying direct material cost plus direct labor cost. The second one was total manufacturing cost. We calculated by saying prime cost plus factory overhead cost. And in grade 11, we were still doing the same calculation of cost, but in the form of ledger accounts. One account is work in process ledger account. This is the same information which we recorded in the work in process ledger account that we are going to be recording in the production cost statement. In the work in process, on the debit side, we had opening stock of work in process, direct material costs, direct labor costs, and factory overhead costs. On the credit side, we had closing stock of work in process. After balancing this account, we had to come up with an amount which we recorded as finished goods, showing that we are transferring this amount to the finished goods stock account. But the same amount that we recorded as finished goods stock account was the total cost of production of finished goods. So we want to revisit the formula of the work in process ledger account. It is opening stock of work in process account plus total manufacturing cost. Total manufacturing cost, it is our prime cost plus factory overhead cost. We subtract closing stock of work in process to give us total cost of production of finished goods. Now, the main aim of production cost statement is shown on page 432. Our aim is to calculate the cost of production of finished goods. So as we are preparing this statement, we need to come up with cost of production of finished goods. The format, our heading production cost statement for the year ended. The question will remind us of the year. Here I have started by prime cost, then direct material cost and direct labor cost. These two are in a block, showing that we are adding direct material cost plus direct labor cost to give us prime cost. Now, examiners might vary the presentation of this section. Some might start with prime cost like I did. Others might start with the direct material cost, direct labor, then prime cost will come after. it doesn't change anything. What is important is to know the formula to say direct material plus direct labor is equal to prime cost. Also know that if you are given any two of the equation, you can calculate the third one. An examiner might give you the prime cost and the direct labor cost. You need to calculate direct material. If the examiner gives you prime cost and the direct material cost, you have to calculate the direct labor cost. Sometimes you are given nothing, so you have to calculate direct material, you have to calculate direct labor, then you also calculate direct prime cost. You also need to know that direct material cost is not 1, direct labor cost is not 2. If a question is not asking for these two notes but asking for the production cost statement, you need to show your workings of the direct material right there in brackets, and also your direct labor, you have to calculate it in brackets. So if the note is not requested, it is not a big deal. You have to show workings in brackets as always, how you have calculated your direct material and how you have calculated your direct labor. Then to our prime cost, we must add factory overhead costs, which is D, to give us total manufacturing cost. Similarly, factory overhead cost is note 3. If the note is not part of the question, you must show workings as well in brackets to show that you understand. Now, our total manufacturing cost, we add opening stock of work in process to give us a total, then we subtract work in process at the end to give us now cost of production of finished goods, which is the main aim of this. So our aim, we are calculating cost of production of finished goods. Total manufacturing cost plus opening stock of work in process. We do not write the heading, we just write the figure. There is no name given there, so don't ask what must we write. Do not write anything. Of importance is how to calculate cost of production of finished goods, because examiners, remember, are paid to be tricky. Sometimes they give you questions and you are not sure how to answer. Now, total cost of production of finished goods is calculated in 3 ways. The first method, which I say the logical method, is the one that we have now, the normal production cost statement, where we say prime cost plus factory overhead cost is equal to total manufacturing cost. Total manufacturing cost plus opening stock of work in process minus closing stock of work in process will give us cost of production of finished goods. This is the logical method. This is the normal way of presenting the production cost statement. Now, you are going to notice that examiners might not give you one of the work in process amount, either at the beginning or at the end. If work in process is missing at the beginning or is missing at the end, it makes method 1 now to be impossible. Therefore, you have to try other methods of calculating cost of production of finished goods. Then you will be working backwards now to find your missing amount for the work in process. Our method 2, if we do not have work in process, Our first suspect now is method 2, which we can use to calculate our total cost of production. It says total number of units produced multiplied by unit cost of production. It will give us now total cost of production, which means we will be entering now the total cost of production, and we work backwards to calculate now the missing amount of work in process. And we still have another method. They might not give us the unit costs of production, they might not give us the number of units produced, they might give us sales. So if we are given sales and we are given finished goods opening stock and closing stock, our next possible formula will be using note 6. I will explain this further as we go on. Let us go now to the production cost statement worked example. I have with this information balance or totals on 30 June 2014, raw material stock 78,900, work in process stock 175,000, finished goods stock 542,000. Then balances and totals on 30 June 2015, raw material stock 92,400, work in process stock ? Finished goods stock 759,000, factory overhead costs we are already given 362,790, production wages 990,000. Production wages or factory workers wages, they form part of our direct labor. So they might not write it exactly as direct labor, they can write it as production wages, or they can write it as factory workers wages. We know that direct labor is the wages paid to people who are directly involved in production. Our second information says raw material stock purchases of 553,500 includes carriage on purchases of 40,000. So our direct material cost already we know it is 553,500. Then production wages totaling 90,000 was not recorded. Here we already have 990 plus 90,000, it will give us the total production wages for the year. Then factory overhead cost was incorrectly calculated. The following adjustments must be taken into account. So we have an incorrect factory overhead cost of 362,790. Then depreciation on factory plant and equipment amounting to 84,030 was omitted. We need to add it to factory overheads. Then indirect materials included 3,500 worth of materials bought for the next financial year. This is a prepaid expense, we must subtract it. Advertising cost of 17,320 was included as 12,790. We need to take note that advertising is not part of factory overheads. So whatever amount which was recorded, in this case 12,790, it must be subtracted from the factory overhead cost. The last bullet, the utilities amount of 10,290 in the factory overhead cost account was apportioned in the ratio of 2:1:1 between the factory and other departments respectively. It should have been in the ratio 4:2:1. Now when we are given a ratio, we must start by adding the total ratio. 2 plus 1 plus 1, it gives us a total of 4. So for factory, the incorrect apportionment, it was 2 out of 4. Now the correct apportionment, it is 4 plus 2 plus 1 to give us a total of 7. The correct one must be 4 out of 7. So we are going to say amount given 10,290 divide by what it represents, 2 out of 4. The required 4 out of 7 will give us now the correct utility amount which should have been recorded. So we must check now the difference. The correct amount minus what was already included will give us the difference, which we might either add or subtract. Then the last information, units produced and sold. We have value and units. Cost of finished goods produced 1,872,000. Then sales with a markup of 100% on costs 3,564,000. So we have sold 396,000 units and we have produced 374,400. Let us now check what the answer will be like. Our production cost statement will look like this. The direct materials, we have our opening stock. Our opening stock of 78,000. This is our opening stock of direct materials. We are going to add our purchases, and these purchases we are told they already include carriage. So this is purchases plus carriage. We are going to subtract closing stock. We subtract closing stock. Our answer then is going to be 540,000. Because the question is not asking for the note, we show workings right there in the face of the production cost statement. Direct labor costs, it was one of the easiest this time around. What we are given according to our information or the trial balance, it is 990. Then we are also told production wages totaling 90,000 was not recorded. Then we have to record that because the amount was omitted. Nothing was recorded. We are going to say 990,000 plus 90,000 will give us now 1,080,000 is our direct labor cost. Then direct labor cost plus direct material cost will give us our prime cost, 1,620,000. Now our fixed overheads, as I had explained, we have started with an amount of 362,790. This amount we have to adjust for depreciation, indirect material, and subtract advertising for utilities. After all the adjustments, our fixed overhead amounts, because the question was requiring the note, the calculations was not part of this production cost statement. The answer, which is a transfer, was 432,000. Then we are going to say now 1,620,000 plus 432,000. Our fixed overhead will give us total manufacturing cost of 2,052,000. Then from the question, we were given opening stock of work in process. We are going to add 175,000. Then we do not have closing stock of work in process, which means the logical answer to calculate cost of production of finished goods does not apply. What we have to do is now to go and check if method 2 can be applied. So we go to our information. Then from our information, we are going to notice that cost of finished goods produced, already we are given the cost. It was 1,882,000. Because we are already given, then we record the amount as it is. Now we have our total cost of production. We have closing stock of work in process. We have to work backwards. Work in process at the end must be subtracted. You need to take that. So in this case, for our answer, it is now a balancing figure. Production cost statement is one of the easiest financial statement that we can prepare. With more practice, I trust we are going to make it. Let us check now for our homework. We are going to answer 3 questions on production cost statement. The information is from the attachments that you are going to receive. There's a question paper with 3 questions, and you have an answer book with also 3 questions. We will do memo discussion on Wednesday from 6. So you have today, you have tomorrow to do all the 3 questions. I expect every one of us to get a total in the production cost statement. These questions are not only asking production cost statement, they are also revising note 1, note 2, and note 3. So take the opportunity to revise, and good luck.